Now I should be live on Restream as well. And let me just wait for the thumbs up for Restream. And this time, the big salute goes to those of us in North America, especially the Midwest and, well, even on the East Coast, it's still way too early. Just after midnight. So well done to all of you in North America. Okay, we seem to be live. I'm just waiting for the thumbs up. Other than that, make yourself comfortable. And the very brief intel brief that I will give is the dark ones, they have a window that they need to sort of hit. Yep. Okay, we're live on all 6 platforms, and it takes a couple of minutes to check all of them. Anyway, there is a window the dark ones need to hit on the physical plane, and that's roughly January 20th, 2025. But to have any hope of that, there's an energetic window and goal that they need to hit by the solstice, apparently. And that's why they've been going absolutely crazy. Since since 11/11, but especially since shortly after 11/22. They've been, really, really losing it. Because of that goal, that energetic goal they must achieve by the 21st. Otherwise, it really is over. Because their plans for the physical plane after the 25th, between the 25th to the 20th of January, won't work. I mean, they're still going to try, but most likely it won't work. And that, it's been rough, but rest assured, things are way more green for them. So let's help them out by bringing them to the light. So anyway, that's why it's been pretty brutal. I've been working on and off, and probably some of you have around the world for the past 4 or 5 hours. On top of that, December is a month, even including up to early January, it is a month of astrological or planetary retrogradations that I was explaining in the 30-day challenge webinar earlier today, which makes things ideal for finding those last hidden things preventing us from moving forward, both internally and externally. And so don't worry. It's just that kind of a month. that is their last window. Definitely last energetic window, which is sort of one and the same thing. But there was a ton of stuff, energetic stuff, going on pretty much all day today. And unsurprisingly, the last few hours, as we approach the peak of full moon. So begin to settle in to your final sort of position. Begin those slow, deep breaths through your nose. And actually hold it for a couple of seconds on the out breath, because apparently that helps even more with brain waves, meditative brain waves, and and more oxygen. And if any of you had a very unpleasant morning, or if you by yourself, you just either felt negative or just noticed the energies were pretty south, very, very stale, negative. We're actually going to start off with that. But we're going to use this month very wisely and strategically, because that's the way the 144K goes. Because the astrology alone is really forcing groups like ours to really finalize things, really go over things and hidden things and finding them before really moving forward in January. And come February, early February, things will move forward in an even bigger way. That'll really be, apparent, overt. As you continue to breathe deeply through your nose, unifying our energies, effectively starting the mass meditation. Call in your guides, if you consciously work with any. And not for the first time. We're going to be doing some cutting edge stuff, some recent sort of instructions that I've received, and you're going to learn some amazing stuff that'll really transform this crazy resistance that we've been experiencing since pretty much 1122. Be in that sacred space of centeredness, stillness, and just as importantly, detachment, non-trying. Those are the protocols throughout the whole mass intervention. We're really going to harness the full moon energies at a whole new level. Although if you're in North America, you don't have much of a choice anyway, because I know that you can't sleep anyway. Let's literally transform the timelines. See yourself in that gigantic silver translucent crystal ball. As always remember, the image is instantaneous, just as you're setting the intent, or just as I give the guidance. Follow that sacred, divine, natural way of non-trying, of instantaneousness. You just have to focus your point of attention inward. Now see all the golden light bodies of all your comrades, true comrades, brothers and sisters in arms that you are with. Evenly spaced all around the inside of the equator of the crystal ball. Let's call in Gaia. You can do that in your own way if you like. Authentic Gaia, authentic Gaia. We call upon the one true authentic goddess Gaia. Please be here with us. Connect with us. Can we please have your permission to take you up with us to beyond the multiverse? to multiply our mass meditation power by 100, if not 1,000. See Gaia in the middle. Adore, revere and cherish her by admiring her beautiful white polar ice caps, white clouds over the blue oceans, the sacred one. And up we go through the layers of this universe, racing up through all the different realms, densities, frequencies, dimensions. As that familiar, comforting, therapeutic, calming, centering, soft flickering of light through the walls of the crystal ball bring you into even more stillness, centeredness, detachment, letting go, presence, non-trying, but focus, unwavering point of attention, which is your galvanized consciousness, which is what's helping set the world free, literally. Look all around. Put a little glance on your guides if you like. On all the golden light bodies of your fellow 144K brothers and sisters in arms. All originating from all sorts of galactic walks of life. Everything you can imagine is real. As we're about to break through that last thick outer boundary of this universe. Take that last glance at Gaia. That flickering or soft flashing of light on the walls of the crystal ball. And all of a sudden, everything goes bright white. It's so bright, you have to squint your eyes. You can barely see Gaia in the middle. And we're there. that darker walls of the crystal ball return, the brightness is gone, and we rise above a very big ball of light that is the universe that we just left. Zooming past some other universes before we rise above a whole ocean of universes. And now the whole multiverse that we just left comes into view as a slightly more, I guess, hazier ball of light. And we rise above a whole ocean of multiverses. Pretty vast, to say the least. And we rise above that, and even that goes. Now take that casual glance back at Gaia, the golden dotted ring of all the other 144K members, and your guides if you like. And while I go through the standard protocols, authentic God, we call upon the one true authentic God. Please make sure we go to you and no one else true God. And you look up. And through the roof of the crystal ball, all of a sudden you see a little point of white light. Really lighting up and getting bigger and bigger and brighter and beginning to light up the whole roof of the crystal ball. Still approaching it. And now the whole roof of the crystal ball is really lit up and bright, but we're still approaching it because we are talking about macro levels of all that is. It really pumps you full of light. And we finally reach it. We come to a sudden yet somehow gentle stop, and we slowly and lovingly move through this platform of light. Nice and gentle, and begins to close up. At the bottom, it opens up at the top. And we gently, gracefully, softly nestle on top of this platform of light. We form a straight line behind and a bit above Gaia. Adore her stunning northern polar ice caps. Now, this will be, I always try to make it a gentle kind of decompression, especially if you're new. And the crystal ball peels evenly from the top center, nice and slowly. All the way down. And let's receive the aura cleansing super high frequencies of simply being with these managers of universes and multiverses. They're very translucent beings of light. And feel what they feel like, as always, to establish your own sacred connection with them. And feel their unique energy signature. And have a little bit of background consciousness on the center of your head. Or for some of you, your whole body, for you kinesthetic types. As we settle into a more kind of invincible, untouchable frequency, by really letting go and truly being here with all your consciousness. To upgrade yourself, acclimate yourself for better performance, I guess. Just for a minute. Let go, be here. Forget everything else. Authentic card. Please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel you to an undeniable, unmistakable physical level. Authentic heart. Send us a massive wave of your energy into our hearts. Engage. Further activate our hearts. And have a little bit of background attention in your heart. And if you're new, you don't have to see things clearly. And if you're not that sensitive, it's okay if it takes a couple of minutes. The way I am. Okay, excellent. Now, if you want, be in this deep, energetic, meditative state. Enjoy the view, or glance at your guides if you have them, while I quickly call in the rest of the teams. In order to concentrate even more levels of light onto this tiny blue planet that affects the whole multiverse. I call upon the infinite army of the authentic amalgam. Of the Oberon lineage. I call upon the elders of the amalgam. I call upon the team of beings that created this universe and the unique physicality as part of the ultimate strategy of corralling the dark back to the light throughout the multiverse. That represents itself as one man. There's a big golden being of light. See him or place him somewhere in the foreground. He also has a very unique energy signature, like we all do. Okay, repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my soul and see that what looks like a star just up above the Hod, those managers of multiverses. Repeat after me. I call upon my authentic oversoul and see a slightly bigger ball of light behind your soul, a different color if you prefer. And repeat after me. I call upon my authentic I am presence. And see that slightly bigger ball of light behind your oversoul, back to white if you prefer. Authentic Legion of Light, there is Gaia. Here is the 144K, standing up, stepping up, and providing that missing link from the physical surface plane of the center of all the action for final resolution of corralling dark back to the light throughout all that is. Take us to the space and place of omnipresence. Take that brief glance at Gaia. Everything goes bright white. You have to squint your eyes. It's very intense as we are taken by our collective I am. And the teams. To the frequency, the realm, way beyond and way outside of time and space. And the bright light disappears. Everything looks the same. We henceforth work from omnipresence. So really relax, be meditative, let go. And we're going to spend a couple of minutes showing your experiences of today or this morning, if you're in the US, if you're in Europe and beyond, in the Far East, it'll be yesterday. and show any either negative experiences, or if you were on your own, a clear not rightness, any form of struggle. Even if it was just a dense, boring, lonely, morbid denseness. Really express yourself to begin the process of them working through us, through our energy fields, to really get down to the real culprits. And we're going to add a special kind of a touch in a few minutes. Now, we can be in the last few days for anyone that didn't experience anything too different or significant or noticeable in the past 24 hours. And I'll give you a minute or two at the most to do that briefly as you're looking at them. And if it helps, you can say authentic legion of light, authentic I am, etc. See this, feel this. So we very much are kind of like that forward reconnaissance squad, radioing back to headquarters what's up ahead or what we're in the middle of, and believing that they know what to do with it. Remember to breathe deeply. Really confide in them. This is very important. Okay. Take a deep breath. Okay. So now we surround Gaia. She's in a quarantine sphere of a color of your choice. Feel your soul over soul, I am, within your heart, through your heart. And if you're new, really let go and forget about so-called reality. And that includes spiritual paradigms and understandings as you know it. And have your, I suppose, visual fix of at least the HOD and your I am within your field of vision over on the far side. Okay, and just say to the teams, scan the whole of this and clear the lot. Throughout all densities, planes, respective frequencies, spaces in between, temporal bubbles, in between planes, in between densities. Down to 0 point and beyond. Any void, unspace, subspace. Down to and within Planck length. Present all of this, beloved I am and Hod, all at once. Okay, see Gaia holographically in that color of your choice that represents omnipresence, all densities and planes. Okay. And just repeat after me. Authentic legion of light and higher aspects. Work through me now. And my connecting consciousness. And scan for any black magic rituals on the physical surface. Any technologies being utilized. Beginning with the ones targeting Starseeds. Okay, now really let go and detach and kind of, in a sense, lose yourself within internal imagery. Again, faint, even abstract visions work just as well. Sometimes your higher aspects and guides show it to you that way. Intent always does half the work. But keep in mind, they do work fast. So you've got to sort of not just pay attention, but kind of allow from a rational mind perspective. And for 5 minutes, turn anything dark into white. And see a humongous amount of beyond the multiversal light just go right into a rather unpleasant sagittariometry in the middle of a floor somewhere in Europe or North America. Pick what location either comes to you or kind of feels good to you. Is the best way I can verbalize that. And because we're working from so high up, you really sort of can be everywhere at once and bring in insane amounts of light. But as always hold focus. You can see things perfectly holographically. Doesn't have to be some perfect visual, physical image. It's done swiftly. You can see whole, basically from far away, from outer space, they look like little white dots when you zoom out throughout most continents, especially North America and Europe, and to a degree the Middle East. And upon getting the light in there, see the light go through the ground, basically. Sort of zoom out, see things in that holographic indigo way of the physical plane surface. Again, abstract is fine. Oh yeah. Lots of light going in and through the portals they're opening up for us. And see streams, kind of like little thin wormholes. Lighting up. They may appear very faint, a dark grey. See them light up. Just below the Earth's surface for the most part. bit above, a bit below. They're in different densities, hidden frequencies, hidden places, in between spaces, in the bottom few densities. Little pockets of time space. That are millions or even billions years away within the dark age, so it'll be in the past. Really open up your mind and think, feel, vibrate at omnipresence. By having a little bit of background consciousness on your I am presence. That's fundamentally omnipresence. And see all these dark realms. A lot of them, or most of them, seem to be in between. In between spaces, in between the spaces of the planes and or the densities, typically the lower densities. You can transmute, do a soul fragment retrieval type of thing on any dark magician that you do notice. That means you were meant to. And turn any, typically they're round spheres, these dark realms that they're trying to conjure. And now put a bit more focus visually, if you're not in the middle of something, that is, on closing these access points, if you will, that you access in terms of the black vortex or portal that they opened up through either technologies or black magic rituals. And once you've done a bit of that, sort of zoom out a little bit. And remember, it's always the overriding rule is to follow your soul, oversoul, and I am guidance. Because that's unique to you, that only you can do per your specific unique purpose and soul attributes and talents. So that overrides whatever I say, okay? That's your first priority. Your unique soul purpose and respective pre-assigned soul tasks. Always remember that. Otherwise, if you're not getting anything clear or noticing anything that only your soul and energy system is designed to see and deal with those exceptions, you can follow along. Zoom out, and if you haven't already, you may want to turn the whole quarantine sphere into an indigo to see where all this light has gone, because one thing connects to another, as is often the case. Now, think and feel omnipresence, all relevant densities and planes, and the spaces in between densities and planes. Down to the subquantum level, especially the surface area. And so what you're going to see in amongst the indigo background is, well, lots of little white dots, predominantly in the surface area, but it's going to be one of those clusters, fuzz balls of whiteness. And now, as always, unless your soul, oversoul and I am is directing you to do a certain something, which is, if it's something beyond your reference points, and then it's probably right. Other than that, see those realms, all right, because they're typically spherical, start to disappear as the white light finishes transmuting them. And just throughout all the different, again, predominantly hidden, cloaked places in between densities and in between planes. Omnipresence. See, always take that occasional glance at your I am soul over soul way over on the other side. And in whatever way works for you or the way that you see it, start to see the teams. Finish transmuting. All these white spheres. So you can just start from North Pole if you want, whatever works for you. There's no right or wrong. And just see them disappear, going downwards. And just hold that focus because it's important. There you go. See all those. As always, they're predominantly in the surface area, some in the core, but the heaviest concentration seems to be surface area. Just past the crust, inward and just beyond the outer atmosphere. Swiftly watch them disappear down to the southern hemisphere. Some of these are the size of a basketball, others are the size of an atom. So they really have to be cleared from omnipresence energetically. And if you were directed per your unique soul talent and purpose and specific task in this time-space intervention, just finish up on that. So we can all finish up on the last stage, if you will, which is going to be something new. Otherwise, if you are done, just take a couple of deep breaths and be with the teams by casually sort of observing the teams. At least two of them. Certainly your soul and I am over on the other side. You just meditate on that realm and vision to be connected with them. I'm just going to be quiet for a minute. And we're going to finish up shortly after that. And just relax with that vision in order to be connected. That meditative visual state with at least two of the teams. Okay. Now, at a minimum, look up at your I am, which is hard to miss. It's directly opposite you, and at least two of the HOD. And I guess I emphasize them in particular because they're number one, really are number one when it comes to omnipresence. Because we've withdrawn our consent and agreement to planetary liberation down to the physical surface level, taking forever. So see them and feel them at the same time. Okay. Now repeat after me as you're looking up at your soul over soul and I am. And if you can help it, the HOD, two of the HOD on either side. Authentic soul over soul and I am. Authentic HOD. Authentic source. Can you please scan the most likely timelines for the rest of December 2024 and January 2025? Throughout all densities, planes, all spaces in between, all densities and planes, down to 0 point, and well within the quantum and subquantum anomaly. Okay, now really observe. Be the silent, detached and meditative witness. Some of you may have seen stuff already coming up, transmuting into white light, then watch it disappear. Obviously, alter background colors as you see fit. Just for 30 seconds. And always remember, those faint images tend to be the most accurate. And the rest of you, if you're not seeing anything, sort of step back and, quote unquote, pretend as if the teams and your I am are already doing it through your conscious connection, or your connecting consciousness, to the point where you sort of have to catch it. You didn't realize it was already happening, is the best way I can describe it. Because we're working way outside of what the left hemisphere linear brain can sort of keep up with. It's just a fundamental of energy when you're working with it at this level. Okay, good. Some of you may have felt something there. Really let them work through you and be the witness. The power and consciousness of your soul alone is profoundly vast. The point where, again, our limited reference points have sort of trouble noticing or catching up with. Okay. Now, we're going to how do I verbalize this? Okay. Tricky to verbalize, so here it goes. Allow Gaia to disappear, basically, sort of blend into the white background of the quarantine sphere. And because your consciousness right here and now needs to enable this, I'm going to verbalize. Imagine or feel the frequency or vibration of the next 6 weeks. Okay. So with the help of the teams, kind of program by feeling and vibrating the quarantine sphere at the frequency and vibration of the rest of December and January. Okay, that's the best way I can verbalize it. That's just the nature of multidimensional energetics. They don't work in 3D terms, let alone understandings of so-called reality, and our very limited understanding of spirituality. So it's a classic case of you can't solve a problem with the current level of consciousness that it took to create it. Kind of like that, I guess. Now feel the presence, I guess, of the HOD and your soul over soul I am without an ounce of effort. It doesn't work that way. Because you're actually kind of holding things back if you're putting in any kind of effort, for lack of a better term. It's more about presence and maintaining internal focus without the ADD, obviously. That's what they rely on, including Source, by the way. All right, now. See, feel. The team scanning, continuing to scan. Because it gets kind of complex with all this game theory, action, reaction, complexities. Now, if you need to, you can zoom in to where, you know, the quarantine sphere sort of a lot closer. So this is all the earthly realm of the next 6 weeks. All right, now see, let's do it in a linear way. See a timeline appear, a linear sequence of time-space events. Pick your color. You can be, again, abstract works just as fine. So pick a color of a line representing the current timeline, just start to move forward from left to right within the quarantine sphere. Alrighty. And as always, don't judge whatever it is that you see. And it's actually a normal thing if you can't see past a certain point. That usually means kind of like a crossroad. And so whenever they fire technologies or conjure stuff through black magic rituals, in a given time space somewhere in the near future. There's always, again, they'll look like lines, black lines or dark little wormholes that go laterally in all sorts of different directions outside of that given time space within the linear timeline. So again, whatever comes up, turn it white, and any typically they're lines connecting to hidden realms in whatever density or plane, usually in between densities and in between planes. Very, very, very hidden in terms of what's left anyway. And turn these connections, or watch these connections turn white. And see the ends of these connections connecting to whatever sack of garbage. Again, typically they're spherical, not necessarily always. Turn them white. You know, in terms of, you know, don't allow what I describe to sort of necessarily influence what you see, because what you see is something that only you can see because of your unique soul talents. So, but I'll mention it anyway, just to give some of you an idea. As soon as that timeline, starting from tonight or today, started to move forward or from left to right, immediately this blackness appeared. And within that tube is kind of like a tube. And all sorts of different lines, wormholes in all directions, almost look like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. This the nearest reference point I have for you. Connected to spheres, and I'm just making sure they're all getting lit up, transmuted. Because for those of you that had a rather unpleasant 24-hour period, the past 24 hours, I'm sure you don't want to experience that again. And just watch it disappear, whatever they connect to. And if that timeline where all those lines sprang out from, just as always, change your background colors as needed so you can differentiate with your white transmutational light. But turn it white, any broken up aspect darkness around that particular time-space event just ahead of us. Visualize it in whatever way it comes to you or is shown to you. Again, it's instantaneous if you just observe. All right. Typically, they ritualize and fire technologies, 3 days prior a full moon and 3 days after a full moon. And obviously, we all agree that it's a case of no thanks. Let's move forward. The next one seems to be the solstice. Again, you really can see whatever you set your intention on, especially when you're working in such a, I suppose, properly set up kind of a way where you're very deliberately operating from way outside and way above regular time space from omnipresence. And if, you don't have to know the dates or anything like that. Just, I guess, in what is shown to you. The sacred vision as the sacred witness and channeler that you are. Now, I think I'm up to the solstice at this point, December solstice. It's okay if you're a bit past that or before that. By working together, we tend to make sure we don't miss anything. Because God knows off-worlders, let alone high dimensionals beyond the multiverse, can do this. But not really. Because of that missing connecting link, which is us, literally. And just think and feel and vibrate at omnipresence. and disappear, or turn white and disappear, whatever these wormholes that they travel through or portals go to, that are themselves typically outside of time and space as well. So as always, cutting edge stuff. That's the way the 144K is, and the way you get to reach your potential and highest purpose. And trust in that image. The teams will, enlarge the image if needed from within the quarantine sphere. It all functions like the ultimate holodeck because you're being supported in stretching and opening up your consciousness. It's always the secret sauce, always the trick. Your consciousness is the only real limitation. And the more letting go and witnessing, not trying you do, the more instantaneous it's done, the more effective it is, I guess. Remember, they have an energetic window that they need to hit or reach within December. All right, I think I'm up to the 25th. Speaking for myself, some of you simply see better than me. It doesn't matter as long as you're relaxing and receiving the image being shown to you. And this is the last thing that we're going to be doing today. Because a lot of these entities, they're sort of either AI generated or newly created from within some of these hidden realms. It's not as if they were always there, just waiting to be activated. Okay. Really have that sense of adventure, curiosity, fascination. Because in a minute, we're going to be asking the teams. And this is where we're going to make sure we're outside the atmosphere, outside the quarantine sphere. We're going to ask him to, and this will sound counterintuitive, we're going to ask him to activate all future attacks. Now, if it helps you, you can sort of use whatever holographic visual works for you or is given to you by your soul. You can sort of stretch a timeline represented by a line or a tube, really, from left to right, one end of the quarantine sphere to the other. And at the other end of the quarantine sphere is the 31st of January. And see what comes up. Between, I would say, the 25th and the 31st, 25th of December, or depending on where you're at, per your soul path and purpose and talent. So between whatever date you're up to and the 31st of January. They're sort of the last hairy moments energetically and physically, I guess. Because even on the physical plane, you don't want too much of the population freaking out all at once over whatever false flag, over whatever fake alien invasion, mass shootings, the usual 9 yards and garbage. You don't want too many people freaking out because, again, it downgrades, it ladens the grids, it infects the grids, it powers up darkness, etc. It really does. And as always, can frustrate things. Really, if it helps you, pretend you're that super duper professional remote viewer and you're just being taken to places. Just remember to turn it white and transmute it. Anything dark grey or black. We are working way outside of time-space, under great protection and guidance. And because of well, with all due respect to remote viewers, saying whatever on YouTube, because of what we're doing here, it alters what they see or removes what they saw. Literally. Transmute swiftly and gracefully,
90 seconds. 60 seconds.
And once you get the hang of it, you can sort of go quickly. All right, let's move through January now. It's okay if you're way ahead of me. I'm always a little bit slower because I'm busy guiding. As always, my job is to bring out and actualize the very best in you.
10 seconds.
And this will really help clear the just ridiculous amount of volatile upwards and downwards movement in timelines. This whole roller coaster of experiences, shall we say? Because it's really time to smooth things out energetically and really come into your natural state, into your four, whatever the term is. All right, let's quickly finish up and move through January. And if it helps, you can change the timeline, or the tube representing the timeline. You can change the color to represent January. Ooh, they were going to hit us hard in January. Transmute. We're finishing up in 5 minutes. You've got the hang of it now, so you can do it faster. Just make sure you hold the focus once you turn something white. That's the trick, at least for a few seconds. Again, we're radically reducing the amount of resistance that they've been desperately throwing up and doing since just before Thanksgiving. Clear any little lines darting laterally from a given time, date. So whatever they pull in, whether it's through rituals or technologies, that realm, that they connected with and pulled stuff through is already sort of at time, outside of time and space. It's more a question of when they conjure it in terms of linear time. That's what we're focusing on. And that's how we're accessing these hidden realms. And disappear them, transmute them, vanquish them. All right, zoom out, or just this will be the last act. And there's full moon energies that are obviously very strong. That's powering us, that's supporting us in doing this sort of arguably cutting edge act to save ourselves and the whole planet a lot of grief. Completely unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. I'm going to zoom out and see this most likely timeline in as a horizontal tube from one end of the quarantine sphere to the other. And zoom out so you can comfortably see the teams. 2 of the HOD and your soul over soul I am at a minimum. And look over to them and repeat after me. Authentic soul over soul I am. Authentic managers of multiverses, the HOD. Authentic source. Work through me now. Through my connecting consciousness while it's still there. To completely clear the timeline of remaining December and January. Of all hidden dark realms throughout all that is, throughout the multiverse, throughout all densities and planes of existence, and in between planes and all densities, down to 0 point, subspace and unspace. And any other hidden reality not yet known by our conscious minds, but seen by you through our intent and command, including the quantum and subquantum anomaly and anything hidden within it, throughout subspace, throughout cyberspace. Throughout the past 3 billion years of the Dark Age. Access them now and transmute them. By seeing and accessing all negative acts. From this earthly plane throughout December and January. Now activate all these hidden realms and negative acts that will try to conjure them and pull them in. Zoom out. See what's already there. Within the quarantine sphere. Because we've set the right intent. Turn it white. Turn it white. Hold. Again, as always, it'll look like little black specks within and around that horizontal tube representing linear time-space. Some of you may have seen more than one timeline or represented by a horizontal tube. If you did, good on you. That's your unique soul talent and pre-assigned task, specific and unique to you, shining. Because you've been provided the support and platform and guidance to do so. Hold for everything that you stand for all that is, and the purity, softness, and innocence of Goddess. That is the wind that blows through the trees. Restoring her. Light it all up into white, anything dark. Change background color to a dark indigo or whatever works for you. you may get a bit of a brief glimpse of some specific micro images of the macro. Now look over just above the quarantine sphere at the big ball of light that is your I am. And at least two of the HUD on either side in the background. And simply say, finish it. Anything remaining, make sure it's turned white and disappeared. Smooth out that timeline and watch it get bright. This is massively helping the light forces, both terrestrial and non-terrestrial, not just making our lives a lot easier and smoother. Well done, everybody. We're done. We really have turned coming and inevitable mountains that were ahead of us into molehills, so that we're not interfering with the growth, experiences, and consciousness growth of the collective. We've simply any fear or challenge experienced by the unconscious majority is just only caused from their unconsciousness, not from which, isn't going to be an issue for us because we have a lot less unconsciousness. It's not going to be an issue for us. And, it's not going to be hell for us anymore. It's all about finding finding those hidden things and clearing them. Without having to get knocked over the head by them, just to discover them. I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say enough's enough. Besides, we're able to do a lot more these days because of the light age that we just entered, because of more light reaching the surface. Ironically, that makes them more desperate and vicious, but we're adjusting to that, improvising, using new tools. Thanks to thinking at a different level. New ideas from higher consciousness. Classic case of you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness level that it took to create it. You've heard that 1,000 times. I'm just helping you put that into practice, actually doing it to make a world of a difference. Literally. And as always, it lays the foundations for the light forces, physical and otherwise, terrestrial and otherwise, to find things quicker and easier and shutting them down as well. There's all sorts of profound, positive downstream ramifications of what you and I do together. Not alone. So well done. Again, this is the last window of time that they have. So we're just doing our part to radically reduce the viciousness. And feel the pride, because this is a great example of reaching God halfway. Or the other biblical saying, God will not do for you what you can do for yourself. Well, again, my job is to make sure you really do what you can do for yourself. And God will reach you the rest of the way. Feel that love. Of that principle, truth, and you taking action, making it happen. Qualifying yourself for a far higher timeline. So well done, beloved one. If you're in the US, have a freaking awesome sleep. Because maybe now you can. In spite of the roaring full moon energies. Reflecting back at us so much of that father-son energy. What have we got in New York? Not even 5:30 a.m. yet. And over there in Zurich and London, you have a wonderful breakfast. Well, most of you were in the UK and London and Germany, I would say the majority. Holland, Belgium, Scandinavia. Feel our love, receive our hugs. Over here from North America. And everywhere else that you are, Australia, New Zealand, Asia. Well done, beloved ones. Receive the love. Really receive it. Just let go. And just feel this immense gratitude from all that is. Literally. Thank the teams. And all your higher aspects, your true identity. Feel it, receive their energy. And this is your loving servant, the unknown light warrior, giving you his personal salute and honor. And feel honored. And I'll see you on the 21st. for some pretty cool fun, pretty riveting stuff on the 21st solstice. Well done, beloved one. We've stretched our consciousness and our minds, and that's where it's at. That's where freedom lies. Till then.